Today, I unveil a powerful technique that can instantly boost your memory of foreign words. If you're new here, how do I say it again? Cześć przyjaciele. My name's Matthew. I used to work for Fluent Forever, where I was mentored by the American polyglot and best-selling author Gabriel Weiner. Since branching out on my own, I've realized that I still love learning languages. So I've developed my own tools and techniques, and I'd love to share them to help you too. How do I say that again?
Cześć przyjaciele.
Cześć przyjaciele. Alright, so you've probably heard that listening is a crucial part of language learning. But did you know that focusing on vocabulary in its audio form can help improve your memory and comprehension? This video is broken down into two parts. I'll first break down why this works through research, and then I'll talk about how you can take advantage of this for your vocabulary learning. According to recent research, your vocabulary knowledge in another language is closely related to your listening comprehension. One fascinating study found that your oral vocabulary knowledge predicts your listening comprehension a whole lot better than your written vocabulary knowledge. What this means is that when you know words in a foreign language in their audio forms, you're more likely to be able to have better listening understanding skills rather than if you just knew those words in their written forms. So when you improve your ability to recognize words by ear, you can enhance your overall language skills more effectively. This all links to one of the biggest challenges that language learners face. You might have memorized the written form of a word, but you still haven't mastered the audio form of it. So it can be so difficult to recognize words when you listen to rapid, connected speech. Have you ever faced this problem before? You're listening to audios in a foreign language, like Spanish or Japanese or French, and it feels like they're talking so fast. You may know those individual words when you read the transcript, but as you hear it, you just don't know what's going on. You might actually think that you are forgetful and you don't know all of these words, but in fact, you might actually recognize all of those words when you see their written forms. Forgetting the words may not be the real problem here. It might be the fact that you haven't yet memorized and acquired the audio forms of those vocabulary. This problem often comes about because in your study, you've been focusing too much on the written form of those words and not enough time on how those words are pronounced. Research shows that truly knowing a word means that you should be able to recognize it in its spoken form as well. So if the problem has been that you've been focusing too much on the written forms of words and you haven't focused enough on the oral forms, if you want to take advantage of this research, then it means that you need to focus more on the oral and listening side of things when it comes to new vocabulary. Let's talk about three main points for how you can take advantage of this. Firstly, use audios to enhance your vocabulary. Let's tackle this problem of focusing too much on written word forms straight on. The answer lies in simply using audios when you learn new words. Let's explore some practical resources that can help you incorporate audios in your vocabulary learning. Online dictionaries with audio. When you come across a new foreign word and you want to learn its meaning, look for online dictionaries that come with audios of those words as well. Many online dictionary websites already have audios for all of their word entries. For example, if you come across this Spanish word, if you're a native English speaker, you might simply read it in its written form as impermeabilizante. But if we use an online dictionary that comes with audio, we can then hear it spoken as
impermeabilizante.
And then we can memorize not only its definition as waterproofing, but also we can learn its pronunciation, impermeabilizante. This really shows you that incorporating audios in your vocabulary learning can help you with pronunciation, and it will help too with your memorization because you've got another way to connect with that new word. There are even more specialized pronunciation dictionaries online focusing on pronunciation audios in different languages. For example, if we come across this new French word, we, as a native speaker of English, might think it's pronounced inébranlablement. But of course, just focusing on that written form is not enough, and it's great to use pronunciation dictionaries like Forvo, where you can hear a native speaker actually speak that word.
Inébranlablement.
Then you can try practicing it yourself, inébranlablement. And it sounds a whole lot better, a lot more French, and we can then associate the meaning of inébranlablement with the meaning of unwavering. Using audio certainly is a whole lot better, and it'll help with your vocabulary learning and memorization. Another resource are translation tools. Now, many translation tools like Google Translate now include audio features of different words as well as phrases. One of the limiting factors of online dictionaries is that they can just focus on individual words. And sometimes it's useful to have a translation tool and listen to their audio, because you can put a longer phrase or sentence there and then listen to that audio. This can be a quick and easy way to hear words in context. Now, remember when I tried and failed to say hello friends in Polish at the beginning? Forvo unfortunately didn't have the audios for that phrase, but fortunately Google Translate did. And you can really hear the improved difference between my before and after attempts. The audios from Google Translate really helped. Cześć przyjaciele
Cześć przyjaciele.
versus cześć przyjaciele.
Cześć przyjaciele.
Cześć przyjaciele. Doesn't that sound lovely? You can also check out AI technologies that come with advanced audio features such as ChatGPT. Try out ChatGPT to help you, but note that ChatGPT doesn't have all the languages available for audios, and it doesn't do all regional accents. If you want to use ChatGPT, for instance, to get the audios of certain words, then just type in something like, act like an Italian teacher. Tell me how to pronounce the word. If you're a native English speaker and you're just a beginner, you're likely to say Ciociola. Now, you might have to type that word into ChatGPT because even ChatGPT might not understand your broken Italian. Then ChatGPT can reply back with an audio of that word.
Certo, ascoltane chiocciola.
And we'll learn that it's pronounced as chiocciola, which means snail. And because we've listened to that audio version of chiocciola, we can now get a more deeper connection to that word and its meaning of snail. So we're more likely to remember that Italian word in the future. And if all of those resources that I mentioned can't give you the audios that you're looking for, then your next best resource might be native speaker recordings. If you have access to a native speaker or tutor for the language that you're learning, then go ahead and ask them to record short clips of the words and phrases that you're learning. This can help with your pronunciation, your memorization of the word, but also gives you a sense of the natural speech patterns that a native speaker would use. I've actually done this myself in the past. I would have tutors, then I'd record audio speeches, then I'd ask them to check my recordings. If there were any problems with pronunciation, then they would go ahead and let me know, while at the same time recording audio clips of the correct pronunciation that they would make. Here's an example audio recording where I make lots of mistakes talking about why I think it's important to go to the gym.
我觉得我的健康很好的健康有很多的好处。
Now here's an audio recording of my tutor giving his version of what I said. He says it much more fluent than me.
我觉得好的健康有很多的好处。
And he even gives me written tips on how I can improve. So what can you do with all these audios that you find and gather from your new words that you're learning? Well, that brings us on to the second main tip. Use flashcards with audios in them. Another powerful technique is to create vocabulary flashcards and then add the relevant audio of those new words within them. I personally use the flashcard app Anki in order to do this. Digital flashcard apps like Anki allow you to create audio enhanced vocabulary flashcards. If you come across this difficult German word and you don't know how to pronounce it, at first glance you might think it's pronounced as I Chi Horn Chen. You then look up the meaning of that word in one of the resources that I mentioned, and you discover that this word means squirrel, but actually you pronounced it wrong. It's actually pronounced like this.
Eichhörnchen.
So now you can then imitate that audio.
Eichhörnchen.
Eichhörnchen, Eichhörnchen, Eichhörnchen. Wow, totally different to what I said before. And that really shows you the value of listening to the audio forms of words when you first come across them. But don't just stop there. You can then take that audio and then create a flashcard within Anki or another digital flashcard app to be able to learn the word squirrel in German, or Eichhörnchen. When you have an audio enhanced flashcard like this, you're able to then hear the word as you review it. This helps to reinforce the sound of this new word, as well as helps you to remember its spelling and meaning. Now that you have this audio flashcard of a new word, you can then do audio listening practice. You can of course create multiple flashcards for all the new words you're learning and add audios to them too. Regularly test yourself with these flashcards, and as you review them, remember, don't just focus on the written form of the word. Make sure to check to see if you can also hear and understand the oral version of that vocabulary. Can you understand this word when you hear it? My third tip is this: increase your listening input. If you have a problem with memorizing words in their spoken and oral forms, then make sure that you have a constant exposure to listening in the target language. The other techniques I mentioned before might seem a bit more artificial or isolated when it comes to learning certain words in a foreign language. So listening to more audiobooks, to news, to music, and videos and movies can help you to improve your listening comprehension and memory of new words in their spoken and oral form. This will do it in a more natural way, and you'll learn a whole lot better subconsciously using these more natural contexts. And there is research that shows by just through having lots of listening input in another language, you can actually improve your vocabulary learning, and you can memorize new words just through that. When you have 15 exposures of a new foreign word just by listening, you can actually then learn that vocabulary. You can learn its spelling and its meaning and actually retain it for quite some time just by listening. And there's research that backs that up. When you incorporate more audios into your study routine of new words, you'll help to increase your memory of those words and improve your listening comprehension. Don't just focus on the written forms of words, because you're likely to forget the oral and spoken form of that word. Be sure to listen to the audios of new words as you learn them and increase your listening input. And if you want to learn more about how listening input can improve your memory of new foreign words, then check out this next video where I talk more about that. Watch that video now.